What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Study Hall here on UFSU University. My name's Tam, and we have another buddy cast today. Who am I joined with today?
You're joined with Tyler today.
Tyler, how you doing, man?
I'm doing all right.
That's good to hear. Let me get into the spiel, and we'll jump into it. What Study Hall is for the unenrolled, as we take a bunch unoriginal is it's unoriginal. is we take a bunch of your guys' UFS topics as well as some of our own, and we sit down and we discuss them for your amusement, entertainment, and knowledge. A little bit of housekeeping. The only thing I want to talk about today is we have officially launched a TCG player. You can go out to tcgplayer.com. I'm not positive that we have a URL set up. If we do, it'll be in the description. If not, it won't be. And you can get some UFS singles out there. We are under the moniker of TCG University. So if you want a competing rate of cards / want to help support the show, that is a and don't want to do Patreon stuff, that is a fantastic way to help us out. So, Tyler, how has your week in UFS been?
It's been pretty all right.
Yeah?
Yeah.
It is about time to pull you out of the dredges of losersdom with this most recent set and get you playing games again. It's nice.
I guess, yeah. I don't know if that's going to happen, but it's definitely nice to play some games again.
You want to play games.
I do.
You want to play games.
For the most part.
And so, like, that's the important part. Is like, I enjoy playing with you. I enjoy playing against you. I enjoy having a debate, a back and forth, a good old scrap, if they would.
Yeah. This set has definitely, like, really motivated me, which is, like, really cool.
So, what's the inspiration? What have you found? What are you enjoying playing?
Siegfried. I think I've mentioned on previous episodes.
Yeah. Under
Earth, because, like, that's because he, like, needs it.
Yeah? You don't think the other two symbols are viable?
I think Void might actually be viable. Like, it's just I'm going to discard your entire hand and flip all your foundations sort of thing. Because he gets some of the same support that he needs, like Pride of the Tribe, still under Void.
True.
And he still
Do you
gets,
think Pride of the Tribe's that nuts?
Yeah, honestly. Because his entire game plan is I'm going to block everything on your turn with all my foundations that I keep in my hand. So I might as well also flip all your foundations for free. Because, like, that's how you beat Siegfried. Is I'm going to build out, and I'm going to not flip my foundations. You can have the 3 damage. I don't care. We're just going to block it.
That's fair.
So, like, forcing them to flip over, like, actually really helps. And then they're always going to be flipping over the stuff that doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. So when it finally gets to the point where it's like, well, I have to flip over this foundation so that I could either bump damage or I can not take 8 to the face.
Okay.
But I only have things that, like, I care about. So now I have to flip this stuff over.
So I dig that. The thing is that I'm seeing is I can agree with Pride of the Tribe only because the way that I'm having to fight against Siegfried is I just don't get to make a choice. I just let you have the damage on your turn.
Yeah.
Actually, sorry. I let you have the damage on my turn. I don't actually necessarily care that you reduce my damage because normally if you reduce the damage, you're less likely to block. It's still an option. You still can do it, but, like, it's just a little less likely. And then you using Pride of the Tribe in order to force my hand to flip. So, like, the cool thing about Siegfried and the reason I like his design so much is he puts your opponent into a choice. You get a Sophie's choice of, do you want a resource later? You want a resource now, i.e. a foundation, or plus or minus damage. And I think that's really, really cool design. I love that design. I think choice design is really, really cool.
I agree.
Especially in UFS. Any other things? I'm currently just playing Jackie, just because I'm prepping up for this PTC that we're going to. By the time you guys hear this out on Patreon, patreon.com/UFS University, we have changed our URL. I should have mentioned that at the beginning. We will already be on our way / being in Atlanta. And so you'll hear about our review when we get back next week.
Yep. My thing is that I've also built a Yoshimitsu deck.
Okay.
Because Siegfried's a lot of fun to play. But it's pretty lame, and Yoshimitsu just seemed fun as hell, and he absolutely is.
Yeah,
just I have 1 million cards in my hand. I have 1 million attacks in my hand. I guess I'm just gonna play my entire hand out and see what happens.
Yeah, I that deck reminds me a lot of Jackie, but it's actually almost like a more consistent Jackie because Jackie only gets to draw 3 on my turn when I draw an air ground smash. Otherwise, I'm just a 5-hander.
It's like, I kind of agree with that, but, like,
you draw 2 on every turn.
You draw 2 on every turn, but, like, you gotta sort of there's some reads to it too. So, like, I can go into the turn being like, well, I'm facing Jackie. Well, she's gonna throw a 12 damage attack at me. I need to block something, and it has 6 speed. Well, let's hope this top. Well, I have one block in my hand I have one high block in my hand. Let's hope this top card's a weapon card so that I don't have to commit everything out.
Well, the thing about Yoshimitsu and the thing that like you're so stuck on is you can give the plus check to any time.
Sure. Like then I don't get more blocks after that.
The draw to you don't get more blocks.
That's what I'm worried about.
Yeah.
It's like, well, I've every attack is plus 6 damage in Jackie, so
not the getaway fires or the cover fires or whatever.
Sure. Like that just put another 6 damage attack in your hand.
Yeah, it did.
So like it doesn't matter that has whatever.
That's fair.
But
yeah, I'm excited for the set. I think I've done just a little baby testing with Nightmare. I made a pretty garbage Nightmare deck. I was so focused on the double damage thing that I didn't really focus on the if blocked not blocked thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so my attacks just weren't scary enough under fire, and I was playing a mill deck without Punch and Judy. I think my deck would have just like been loads better if I just committed to Punch and Judy. Yeah. I think Punch and Judy Nightmare has legs, just because like you Punch and Judy a little bit. You Punch and Judy for the 3/3, and they block it, and you put it back in their hand, and you have another one with 3/3, and they have a card in their card pool, and you still get to use your effects of missile launcher or whatever.
Yeah.
From hell with a singular Punch and Judy on it is somebody's entire life. And then in addition to that, we didn't even play the Mitsurugi Foundation that says that you have to block this thing or my next one becomes unblockable. We didn't play that at all. Like there's a bunch of different options. And then Yoshimitsu has an attack under Chaos that says if you don't block it, I draw 3 by discarding a momentum.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so like there's a lot of playing around with this if draw then draw, if blocked not blocked type of thing that I could be doing. And then besides that, I just want to play Zhang Hua.
Yeah.
I think she's going to be nuts. She might be who I play for Worlds in singles if I get to go. If not, maybe Jackie. If not, maybe Jet. If not, maybe... Or not Jet. Jetta. If not, maybe someone else.
Yeah, whatever water character.
Probably going to be a water character. Yeah. I'm enamored with the symbol right now. I think it's the best symbol in the game, which we're certainly going to get to.
Right.
Any last minute thoughts of this past week?
No. James built some decks.
He built some community wanted decks, and that's what's important. They're not that great, but he built them.
Yeah.
He built them.
I mean, somebody's got to do it, I guess.
So, topic 1 of this buddy cast is I want to talk about symbol spread. I want to talk about the symbol spread that has happened over the past, I believe it was 3 events. We can actually do quick math. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Yes. I saw you looking at 3 lists, so I'm going to say yes.
I have 25 numbers on this, so maybe I messed up somewhere. Maybe one of them had a diversity in there. But top 8 for 3 lists would be whatever.
Maybe 24, so yeah, I guess.
Yeah. So we're going to go through, and I think my numbers might be off by 1, but I think the point is still made. I want to talk about what symbols have topped, and from this symbol topping. Did I do my math wrong? Like for real? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I did not do my math wrong. I miscounted. Okay, we're good.
So I guess you technically did your math wrong.
I did my math wrong the time that didn't matter. So I want to talk about what symbols have topped. We're not going to talk about characters, although we can. Tyler did just look at me as we went through and did all of this. But the only symbols that have topped are all fire, water, evil, air, life, good, void, earth, and order.
The only symbols that have topped.
Well, like chaos is not on this list. What are the symbols on all this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8, 9, 10. What's the other symbol?
Good. No, good's there.
Air, evil, water, chaos.
God, if only there was a
site
we could use to look this up.
I already have it pulled up. I just didn't want to use it. Death, right?
Yeah, death. That's actually
death is the answer.
Pretty surprising.
Death has not topped.
I guess.
Yeah, death and chaos. Death and chaos are the only 2 symbols that have not topped. All for 3. Fire has 4 tops. Water has 4 tops. Evil has 5 tops. Air has 1. Life has 2. Good has 1. Void has 1. Earth has 2. Order has 1. And because it is a PTC level, there is not a bunch of diversity.
Mm-hmm.
And so we don't have those numbers. But what does this list tell you about the current health of the game?
Well, it confirms your thoughts that water's. It sort of confirmed your thoughts that water's, if not the best symbol, one of the best.
To be fair, 2 of those numbers were me.
Sure. Right.
No, hold on. 1 of those numbers was me.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was just Jeddah. I only used Jeddah. There was a Jackie Jeddah.
Oh, we didn't count Faye. Yeah.
And we did not count Faye.
Yeah. It confirms my thought that Evil is right now the best symbol in the game.
Evil is very good.
Mainly because of Akuma and all of the support it got last set.
Yes.
Besides that, I guess Fire's still good. I think that is mainly because of like missile launcher.
100%. The 4 fire decks that topped were 2 Goros and 2. I want to say that is it like 2 Goros, 2 Whistles, or like it's definitely like double Goro, double Whitzel, or something along those lines. There's been a bunch of Goros. A Goro has topped every single event, and Whitzel has topped the last 2.
Yeah.
And so I think what this actually says is that every symbol is viable. Asterisks. I just don't think there's been a death deck that has come out, and I still think Chaos is not good enough.
So what it makes me think is that we have these really good symbols, and then I want to say that you can't have every deck in tops just be those symbols because they don't necessarily combat themselves that well.
So you think like a good deck doesn't fight a good deck very well?
Yeah, I think that they kind of, especially like that scenario, they like sort of like they stagnate, right? Like they both want to do the same thing, and when they're both doing the same thing, they're both doing it really well. And at that point, it's like, well, it all comes down to who's just the better player
and who sees answers the most.
Right.
That is luck is also a big factor, and it depends on the character at that point because that's like the main difference of the deck, right?
Yeah.
And what the good engine, what your deck is trying to accomplish with the good symbol,
right?
Like good Woodman is different from good Chun-Li, which is different from good Jet, for example.
Yeah. So like, we can't have all. I mean, and there's still like a lot of characters with these symbols in tops, but the other stuff is just like, well, one character got it in. Like this order deck was a Gil. Like we never expected that. Like that we'd expect it to be all or life. Yeah. Which is life is one of the ones that is in the top 4 that has more than the other ones, but that's not saying much because it's all one.
Those 2 life decks, do you remember what they were?
No.
Keith Disborough and Anacris.
Okay.
Both mill decks.
Absolutely.
So they were just playing the same deck. Same deck. Not trying to diminish anybody's results, but they're both playing just a mill deck. Which does that mean that life doesn't have any place besides being mill?
Maybe
currently,
yeah.
Maybe that changes when the Soul Calibur comes out.
I definitely think it changes then. But
with the way that current sets are going,
yeah, I definitely think so.
So let's talk about the one-ofs. We've got Air, Good, Void, Order.
Mm-hmm.
Do any of these surprise you?
I mean, I want to say yes, only because they're not evil in water.
Well,
diversity. Like air. Well, I'll say air definitely surprises me. Like air, I don't think has been very good for a while.
That air deck was a flash deck, which we just got a bunch of support with Gold Raptor. Yeah. And so I think Air can easily make a comeback. I think people are just like not wanting to put the time into Raptor.
Right.
And at the same time, I also just think Raptor might just be better under Death. Like there's a toss up there, and Death was not represented on this list at all.
Yeah. I'm actually a little bit surprised that Good isn't higher up.
Really?
Yeah, I just think Good is it's so strong defensively that I think I'm surprised that more people aren't. I guess all might just be stronger defensively then at this point. Maybe. So, like, what are the all decks at the top? One was Jackie.
Cassie.
Cassie.
Yeah. I can go back and look, but Cassie for sure. I want to say it was J. Talbane, and then it might have been another Cassie. I can look it up real quick as you keep talking. Because I actually kind of disagree with what you're saying about Good. I think right now it's just easier. It's just easier to play an aggressive deck. When you look at Evil, when you look at Fire, when you look at, I think All is an aggressive deck. I think the way that Cassie, you look at even J. Talbane and Cassie, all they do is just throw big numbers on stuff. That's not blocking.
I guess. Yeah.
They've got one or two defensive keys, but like
I'd argue that Cassie has more than one or two. Like her, I think she's a very defensive character.
I think the only defense that she really has is good skill, as well as the free build and making sure that her checks happen, as well as Shadow Inheritance. I think those are the only things that keep Cassie alive.
I mean, I think that's quite a lot.
But okay, so that's consistent, but it's not 1,000 good pieces. Like 1,000 pieces like good has. We just had. Oh, don't do that to me. Oh, it definitely dropped me up to the top. Yeah, I feel like All, Fire, Evil are those hyper aggressive sets, and I think the defensive symbol that's doing well is just Water. I think that's of the four that have accrued more than 2 tops. All, Fire, Evil, they're aggressive, and Water is the defensive symbol.
Okay, I'll agree to that.
I think Evil has a way to be defensive depending on the character that you front, because like Vega doesn't want to be hyper aggressive, but Akuma does.
Yeah, but then Akuma can also be very defensive.
Akuma certainly can be defensive.
When he wants to.
Yeah. I think the last All symbol was Ed 9, right? That's what it looks like. Stink ass. No, Genemy Terrorist. It's that was under Void.
Yeah.
Dang. We were hoping. Is another Cassie.
Okay, so yeah, it is just Cassie.
Is Cassie and J. Talbane.
Right.
Which is aggressive.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I still think Cassie's defensive.
You think Cassie Cage is a defensive deck?
Yeah.
Huh.
I mean, like she pumps a lot of big numbers, but like I think she more than anybody gets to manipulate Shadow Inheritance.
Oh, totally.
So like, and then that card is just insanely defensive.
Yeah.
So like that's the reason why I think she's a defensive character. Is because she can block a whole lot, and then she gets to choose how she's gonna block too.
So there's that, and then there's like Shadow Inheritance is just such a good singular piece inside of Cassie. That, and when you look at Jeremy Ray's deck, he was riding off the back of Shadow Inheritance and then Telekinetic Mastery the whole weekend. Right. Which those are like the only 2 defensive pieces that he really had in his deck. Everything else helped him get to his game plan of how can I pump stats. And then when I accidentally didn't kill you, survive on the backswing.
Sure.
I think it's a little surprising that Void's on this list, and Void was the Ed 9 deck that we just talked about. I don't think Void's very strong right now. I don't think Void's discard mechanic almost worked better under just different symbols. Like, cards that have the Void symbol can just like jump into other characters.
Yeah. Like, I think the big ones right now are Evil and Water. Maybe not Water. I was just thinking of Sub-Zero, but because he has that one foundation.
Well, Sub-Zero doesn't actually. Sub-Zero's not very good.
I was just thinking of his foundation.
I think Reptile might just be the best Void character.
He is, which is what he was playing under Water. Okay.
The Void version and the Water version are just really different.
Yeah.
Which is like really cool because like whatever. I think this list is really, really interesting, and I'm excited to see this weekend because it's going to be I believe the last event. When's Soul Calibur coming out? 1st of April?
I think like April 3rd, yeah. Okay,
so if it's the 1st of April, then Atlanta will be the second last event that will have Street Fighter vs. Darkstalkers being the most current set, and we can come back and reevaluate this list.
Yeah.
And see how the symbol spread is shaking up.
I mean, I still think it'll be around the same.
Maybe there are 4 death decks and 4 chaos decks that go in top. I hope not, because I'm playing a water deck. But like maybe that's what happens with the symbol spread, and that's how it all shakes up. You know?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Any last minute thoughts on symbol spreads from the past PTCs?
No. I think that like again, these characters they got like one symbol in. I think that's just like because there's only so many good decks under each symbol that can make it into top.
Really?
Yeah.
You think they're like just the pity wins?
Not kinda. I don't want to again diminish like these what they did because like you made it in tops. Like good on you. I never did that in this last
season.
In this last season. But like air. I don't think we ever expected it. Like if you told me, hey, how many air decks do you think will make it in? I would have said 0.
Really?
Yeah,
I think
it's just not a great symbol right now.
I think Flash Air is being slept on, and I honestly think we're gonna go to Atlanta and see a bunch of Raptor decks running around.
We might, yeah.
And at the same time, like nobody's playing Air Jackie. You think Air Jackie's bad?
No, I think Water Jackie's insane though.
Water Jackie is I could argue is a gimmick, but
I mean, like it's a gimmick that's beating my ass.
it's not the gimmick that's doing it.
Right.
I think with that we're gonna go ahead and move on to our last topic, or to the next topic. Sorry, we're already done. We're gonna move on to topic 2. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Study Hall here on UFS University. My name's Tam, and I'm joined by
Tyler.
And it is a buddy cast this week. This is topic 2, but before we jump into our topic, I want to give a shout out to our sponsor this week, and that is TCG Player / TCG University. Maybe we don't know if we have the URL, but
it is.
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, were you talking about Patreon?
No, the TCG.
It is
the TCG Player.
The TCG Player is TCG University.
Let's go. TCG Player / TCG University. We have started a TCG Player in order to help fund our UFS adventures, trying to get more products, as well as put our extra cards from our play groups in your hands, the good people. So if you want to go out into the TCG Player, give it a look. It's a fantastic way to support the show without having to jump on Patreon and do all that jazz. Plus, like, you get stuff out of it.
Mm-hmm.
So topic 2 of the week is going to be... before the start of the cast, I asked Tyler 4 or 5, and he said 4. So what I want to do is I want to go through the standard relevant 4 diff attacks, and I kind of want to weigh them. So we're just going to scroll through UFS Ultra, and you can do this at home and read cards with us if you want. And we're going to stop at some cards, we're going to look them up, and we're going to talk about what makes them good and what possibly makes them bad or unfair or something like that. We're probably going to keep it a little more on the this is why this card's good. Down in the comments below, if you want us to analyze a very specific 4 diff attack, by all means, leave it in the comments down below, and we can certainly have a conversation about it. I want to do this thing. How do I switch this?
I have no idea. I don't even know how you do that.
Lame. So we're not going to be doing Soul Calibur just because we don't have enough play experience with the set, and we're also not going to do the 10 cards because they're rotating very soon. So we're actually in this like weird middle ether between sets. Is that fine with you?
Yeah. I also don't know if there's like anything really down there. Like maybe like Soul Fist only because I was playing it.
Yeah. that one time.
Right.
So yeah. I'm just gonna scroll, and if you see anything, just stop and jump
Leaping
in.
Elbow Smash.
You think Leaping Elbow Smash is?
I think it's pretty
good,
alright.
Bad?
I think it's pretty good. I was seeing it's like Jake played it in a Vicious deck, and I don't know. I thought I was working really well. I think it says you flip a foundation, and then if they block you discard. It's like in that Vicious, it was like I'm gonna give it +2 speed. Block it, and it'll discard, or don't block it, I'm going to draw a card.
Yeah, I think the fact that, once again, we talked about this in the last episode, it gives your opponent a choice.
Mm-hmm.
And flip a foundation, it does not say like a ready foundation, so it can be one that you've already committed.
Yeah.
So like flip a committed foundation, and then it gives them the choice, so all of your if blocked, when blocked, if not blocked effects can trigger. I like that. It's got a 1 mid block. I think that's very good.
And then I'm going to discard a card ready these 2 foundations.
Yeah.
And just go off again.
Especially because like the foundation that you flipped was probably committed.
Yep.
And so you just discard a card to ready it. It's incredible and vicious. I think the one that I want to talk about is Spiral Divinia. This is a Jetta card. It's a 4/3/2 mid block, 4 high for 4 weapon reversal EX2. It says that you get to draw a card pretty much for free in anything that's not Jetta. And then at deadlock, you look at one of the cards in their hand and get rid of it. You look at their hand, and that's so strong. That's
Yep.
so incredibly strong. If you have 2 of these follow in while they're in deadlock, you pretty much win. If 2 of these plus a finisher, it's over.
Yeah.
2 of these in a from hell,
Yeah.
it's over. Like there's nothing they can do about it.
Also, just on reversal, I'm gonna look at your hand and stop your kill turn.
Yeah, or on reversal, it'll either get damage or I'll draw a card for more blocks. Like that's very very good. It's very very good. I actually think all 3 of Ken's kicks are really good. The IKW, Kirabushi kick, and then Violent Shuriken. I think all 4 of those could easily be played, and the fact that 2 of the 4 of them are 4 damage attacks under all means that I think that Devora under all might actually have some legs at some point.
Yeah.
Like Violent Shuriken being able to enhance removal momentum, add a not over yet to your hand under all is very, very good in Devora.
Mm-hmm.
Being able to like play these long kick 4 damage strings under all, it's something I've thought about, but like I don't know. There's something about Devora that's still got me a little iffy. I think she's cool, but she's not quite there. Sweet Chainsaw Music. This card's insane. This card's actually nuts if you're playing any sort of flash deck. Remove X momentum to add X flash attacks from discard pile to your hand. This is on block 2 to a kill turn.
Yeah. I think you're only playing it in Vicious though. I think. So I want to talk about Thundering Impact.
Oh yeah, Thundering Impact.
Yeah.
It's a 4/3 2 high block, 3 high for 4. Throw, deadlock, powerful, slam, EX1.
Mm-hmm.
If this attack speed is greater than printed, it gets +3 damage.
Yeah.
Talk about it.
It's like I was playing this in Blanca.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was crazy in Blanca.
Yeah.
Because it's a nice throw that I'm just gonna give it a little bit of. I only need to give it 1 speed.
Yeah.
And then
it has EX1 as well. If you need it.
Yeah. It's like if you cancel that speed or do something to it, I still have an out. I just think it's a cool card. I also think it's going to get really good in this next set.
Under Evil, you can play Static Buildup. If they don't have a card in their card pool, you just give it a free stat.
Yeah.
And under Vega, whenever you're at Desperation, you give it a free stat. That's what Phil Birch is doing with this card.
Yeah.
To just generate free momentum for coffee zombos or whatnot.
Absolutely.
I think the card is very impactful. I'm not positive. I think you have to like, man. If you don't inherently give speed on a very readily available, I almost say like your character. Like if your character doesn't give speed, you probably shouldn't play this card though.
Absolutely. I think it definitely is like it's a situational card, but I think it's a very good, like it's a sort of all around situational card.
I think Faye would play this card very well as well.
Yeah.
It's got the good symbol. You can flip a 3 on top and give it +2 speed to then trigger its ability. Or you can flip a non-block, add it to momentum, EX1, trigger its ability.
Yeah.
So I think Faye can play this card very well. The next card that Faye can play really well, we're going to move on just to Flip Cat. I think Flip Cat's an incredible card, so much so that it's a win condition in some decks.
I agree.
I think, and I've been quoted on this podcast, I still don't think Flip Cat is as good as something like Windmill Punch as like a 5 diff. Or
I don't either.
Or I don't even think it's as good as the next card we're about to talk about. But I feel like Flip Cat is okay enough by itself to be a card you have to think about when you're fighting.
Yeah.
And that's really like what this list is.
I mean, it is just like I'm gonna give it. +5 damage for having 2 momentum is just crazy.
Yeah.
Like just having the 2 momentum gives it +5 damage, and then I'm gonna EX.
Yeah.
Like. It's really good.
It's an 8 damage attack for the same reason that like Nutcracker is an 8 damage attack.
Yep.
Like you could say Nutcracker and Flip Cat are in the same league, just because of its what how fast is Flip Cat if we have momentum? It's got EX3. We probably have 3 momentum, so it's a.
We do have 3 momentum.
We do have 3 momentum, so it's 12 mid for 8, and Nutcracker also has EX3. And
yeah.
So
I kind of actually want to say that Nutcracker isn't as good as Flip Cat.
Mm-hmm.
Only because it builds itself its momentum and it's guaranteed. The +5 damage, whereas like Nutcracker is only good if your opponent has a penis.
I disagree with that because of the fact that Nutcracker draws you a card and has Breaker 2 on it.
I misspoke when I said only good. but I think
you
without
get full value out of it
you
when
get
you're
full
fighting a
value.
male character.
Yeah. Which I don't know. I think that isn't as common as it used to be.
Hand cannon. Hand cannon has a static ability on it, and so it's very good. It has a static ability that affects my opponent while it exists in the card pool, so it's good. And that's the reason that card's good. I think the discard ready +2 speed is not that great.
It's not all, but I get to add this card in my card pool for free.
Sometimes if you're playing in the life symbol.
Right. Which I think that's like, it's like if you add it into the deck, you do the Overpositor, or not Overpositor, Insect Puppeteer.
Insect Puppeteer, yep.
Hand cannon thing. But if you're just playing like, I think really the only other deck could be played in is like Jackie.
How do you feel about 4 diff 2 checks?
If they're good enough.
So like statistic ways is the next one that I want to talk about. It's a 4-2, 1 mid block, 5 mid for 4. I think this totally justifies a 4-2.
I agree.
Especially with it has multiple 2. You can lose 2 to increase the multiple rating, and Deadlock Desperation increase the multiple rating, increase the multiple rating. Like,
yeah, 5 speed attacks is really good.
Yeah, I mean, and honestly, it can be 6 5 speed attacks. It can be, right? No, it'd be 7.
It's how?
2 2 2. It has multiple to itself. You don't use the first D. You Deadlock Enhance, or you multiple to. You Deadlock Enhance, you Desperation Enhance, and then multiple 2.
Yeah.
Or I guess it'd be multiple.
I guess I wasn't.
Whatever.
I wasn't super paying attention to that. Yeah, I guess it's multiple 6.
Yeah, it is a multiple 6 attack, for 4 damage.
I think I just always expected to only be multiple 4.
That's fair.
If anything, you're gonna have it as multiple 4.
Yep. I think 4-2s should exist more in the game, and I think they should be almost. I think they should be exactly like the power level of statistic ways. I think 5-2s, honestly, 5 difficulty attacks should be a thing of the past, and 5 diffs should just be more of like lead-in attacks as opposed to like follow-up attacks. But
so I was about to say though, I kind of disagree with that, and I think that the 4-2 should be saved for combo attacks.
Really?
Yeah, I think you put the 4 difficulty on, so like it's a 2 check because it's a really really good card.
Yep.
So you have to make it a little bit difficult to play, like. You can't have the only downside be that you check it because that's
ludicrous.
Right. You have 4 chances to check it and you check a million cards. Like the numbers are really low there. I think that if you make it a 5 diff, then there's a little bit more like fear in it, and then you also get to make it a little bit better too.
Yeah. So like with a 4-2, if it's your lead in attack. And you check a 2, you still tap 2 the same way that if you was a 5 diff attack and you checked a 3, you still tap 2.
Sure.
And so like it still has that risk, but at the same time, if it's a 4 and you check a 3, it's still only commit 1.
Right. Well, that's yeah.
So like when we roll the dice on cards, like do you think that people should be rolling dice on the card that they check? Like if it checked itself, would it be okay? So, like, when I check a 2 on a missile launcher, it's awful. Like, it feels real bad. I'll still kill you. Like, you're still dead. But, like, it doesn't feel good as I do it. I don't get to, like, dance on your grave. I just get to, like, just kill you.
I'd say so, yeah.
And it really depends on, like, what's the point of Statistic Ways. Statistic Ways is one of those cool cards, and the reason I think it's a 2 is because it can be the kill card as well as the setup card. I can Statistic Ways into Statistic Ways, and then my Statistic Ways is a combo attack because I'm having to play it right afterwards. Statistic Ways, I'll lose 2, lose the momentum, lose the multiple rating, and then stuff my 2, and then I play another Statistic Ways because that's how the card's like was meant to be played. Right. And then I multiple it out, and then lose my 2, add another 2 in, play another one, multiple it like you want to see more than one of it in your hand. And so the 2 is what makes it risky.
Sure. Yeah.
You can fight me. It's okay.
No, I agree with that.
Fight me. Fight me. Hurt me, Daddy.
I think that 2 isn't always enough.
2 isn't always enough. That's fair.
Yeah.
Just because how many cards we check. I want to move on to Force Ball. This card, pound for pound, might be the best 4 diff attack that we've talked about so far. Maybe. Just because of like. Man, I've died to Force Ball so many times. And it's really just Force Ball in Reptile and how his toolkit works with Force Ball. I hate seeing this card. If you're playing Force Ball, I just already hate you. Like almost as much as Nutcracker. The reveal top 3, add on mid attacks, and then discard the rest is very, very good. It's super, super good. Especially if you're like running a Tomahawk Man, or you're just running a bunch of mid attacks, and then after they're done blocking, it's a 4 diff, so you can play it as like, I don't know, your 3rd card, and then -2 speed, +2 damage. It's a 6 damage 4 diff that possibly drew you 3.
Yeah.
Like what happens when the top 3 cards, or what happens under some symbols if we can figure out how to stack these cards on top of our deck? Like it's grody. It's very, very gross if I can just throw things on top.
Yeah, I'll agree to that.
Do
you not think that takedown is good?
I think takedown is fine. I think takedown is a little too deck specific. I don't think takedown is played in like your average deck. I think takedown's only best in Scorpion, Nightmare, Donovan. I think that's it. I think, and maybe Goro, but at that point, like it's a too low for 8, and so I have to worry about this or Missile Launcher, right, under fire. Yeah. So like, why would I pick up this if I can pick up Missile Launcher? All this thing does is it mills foundations into my discard pile for Goro, or like, it's really, it's good in Whitzel. It's also good in Whitzel.
Yeah, because if you block all that back,
and then I'll play it again, and you better have another low block, or I'm gonna pick up another attack.
Sure. I think that makes it good enough. It's also Desperation 3 was pretty cool.
Desperation 3 is very good. The next one I want to talk about is Shin Ryukon.
Mm-hmm.
This is played in every good deck known to man. The fact that it's a reversal, gains 3 damage, deadlock stun 2. You add a card from discard pile to the top of your deck. There's so many powerful interactions you can do with that.
I really love that card.
That card is very, very, very good. The next one I want to talk about is Allurophobia.
Yeah. We went back at a lot of Cowboy Bebop stuff.
Yeah, what?
We went by a lot of Cowboy Bebop.
Oh, do you want to
stuff.
go back? We can go back.
We just went by a lot of it. Like, I don't think is actually.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Asimov's kit are all 4 diffs, but the only good one is the draw card. 2 of Ed 9s are good, but like they're only good in that deck. Lights Out Bounty and Surprising Shower suck. Hammerhead Assault is only okay. ISS Pre-Grapple only does stuff in Jet. Yeah. Like, next one is just Allurophobia. It's just as an all-around card.
Yeah.
I think this card at one point should have been banned.
I agree.
I think this card is a casual killer. I think this card, if somebody does not know how to play around this card, can promote a bad experience.
Yeah.
In a competitive setting, I think it's totally fine.
I agree. I think it's been sort of moved down to the tier of like, oh shit, I didn't think you had that.
Why is that?
I don't know, because people know how to play against it now. Like it's.
Is it that, or are there more answers?
It's that there's more answers, and that if you see it, you're like, oh, okay, I know what is now going on. I can now plan for it.
Urban Shower.
A very good card.
Urban Shower is nuts. Urban Shower is 6 damage. Urban Shower is another one of those. Like I think. What's his face? What's his dumb face?
Gil?
No. Nightmare. I think if Nightmare had access to a card like Urban Shower, he'd be significantly better. I want to talk about Memphis Assault and Syndicate Slice.
I do too.
I think these cards are exceptionally good. And under an all deck, you get to play both of them. Yeah. And it's just to add cards to your hand for days. I think these are two very, very good all cards.
Yeah, I think Mayfa. I think it's just pretty all right.
You think Mayfa is only all right?
Yeah,
Why?
Because that card only has the all symbol, or that card basically only has the all symbol.
Well,
like you get to play it in other decks like that have the other 2 symbols along with it, as long as they also have all.
Sure.
And that's why I think it makes it a little bit weaker.
I think this card in something like Gil is very good, and you can play it under order. I think Goro with this card under Earth is very, very good.
I agree.
I'll mill these 4. Oh, here's a missile launcher. I'll put it on top and then pick it up.
Yeah, I agree. But again, that just means that there's So like Syndicate Slice, I think you can play in any deck with those 3 symbols.
Except for Chaos. Look at our yesterday's episode. Right, you can't play a Chaos deck.
But like with Mayfa's Assault, you automatically take a bunch of decks, a bunch of characters out of the equation if you want to play that card.
After that, we get out of the new age of UFS and we kind of get back to the old stuff, and I'm not positive there's like nothing really catching my eye of like this has to be in somebody's deck. You know?
So like,
can you think of anything just off the top of your head?
I was gonna say Blanca's,
Mill 2 or stack 3.
Stack 3.
Rolling attack. Is that what it's called? Just rolling attack.
That card has surprised me. Like I think more than any card in Street Fighter, and how like versatile it actually gets to be in other decks.
Yeah.
Like I never really think of like I think Travis has done it more than anybody else I've seen is just put this card in a deck. And I'm like, why is this in the deck? This doesn't make any sense. Then like I see him using it. It's like, oh, like I actually get why you've put that in the deck.
Can you give me an example?
Like and as well.
Yep.
Like, well, I'm gonna stack these 3 cards on top of my deck so that now it gets +6 damage.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't have thought of that right away. I've seen him do it in the past. I can't think of whatever specific deck it was. Like I've seen him use it. I've seen it be used, and it's like, or I'm gonna stack these attacks on top of your deck. Don't block it. Yeah,
I think using it. So it's really good to make them draw a little more dead, because like this is a really good poke attack. So you look at 3 foundations as opposed to just discarding them. You're just like, I'll stack those on top. It's fine. You're not killing me the next turn. There are 3 foundations on top. Even if you do block, which is fine, you're still gonna draw 2 dead cards. That's what, a third of your hand.
Yeah.
There's nothing you can do about it.
Right.
Or on the kill turn, there's 2 attacks. We'll put those there.
Yeah. I just think it gives you a surprising amount of control.
I totally agree. Oh yeah, that's fair. Besides that, I could argue for like stretch kick as being super good.
Yeah. I think
double knee press has fallen off the radar. That's not even a card anymore. Remember that card had?
Yeah, I'm actually surprised about that. I think Kin's Hadoken is still pretty all right. There's a free draw one. I
think Guardian Slasher is going to make a comeback in the next set.
I agree. Under Zamasil?
Yeah. We didn't hit the stopwatch. I don't know what's talking about. We've got the throw package, Team sliding ankle breaker, but like there's nothing so unbelievable that it's just like coming to mind. I'm having to actually look at these cards. I had a strategy for the old ones, you know. Yeah. Curse Splat. That card's good, but like
it's at this point, it's all cards that are just that are good and will always be good. And then
Flame Sword,
like Flame Sword, is about to get a lot better. Yeah. And we're gonna at this point, it's just gonna be cards that we're gonna see. Oh, like this is okay now.
Is there anything crazy that you think have just like fallen off the radar?
Tangodive.
I just passed by Tangodive as well, and it's what spawned the question.
Yeah.
Like
that card was another card that we said needed to get banned.
Yeah. Yeah, it totally was.
Yeah. Like nothing really else.
Yeah, I'm not seeing anything
MM copy.
else.
That card was really good at one point.
Yeah, because of the versatility of stun 2, powerful 2, breaker 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, that card could end games or stop your opponent from ending the game. Magnet Slam, Dust Crusher, Pharaoh Shot was in a Nationals winning deck, one of the best cards. Search Snake, we haven't even talked about. There's a bunch of really good 4 diffs. And knowing what 4 diffs will make your deck good is, I think, an important part of your deck building process. Mm-hmm. And so the point of this topic, to get like a little existential, is like, the point of this topic is to put these words in my new players' heads and be like, well, they give a brief description on why Nutcracker is good. Let me play test with it. Mm-hmm. Well, obviously.
Maybe something else.
What?
Maybe something else. Maybe not a really hard to get ultra rare.
I mean, even proxy it up. Like, just play test with it and see why it's powerful. We're just 2 knuckleheads. And so, yeah, we know what we're doing when we talk about this game, but the best thing that you can do, personally, as a new player, is play. Just play test. Listening to the podcast is good. It will certainly help you. But there's nothing beats putting your money, your cards where your mouth is. With that, I think we're going to move on to the next topic. Are there any last minute thoughts you have on 4 damage or 4 difficulty attacks?
No.
Just make sure that you find your ratios. Which is what we're talking about next.
Definitely like a really important thing to think about. You definitely need 4 difs so that you can continue playing on not committing foundations.
100%. We're moving on to topic 3. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Study Hall here on UFSU University. My name's Tam, and I'm joined by one of the other co-founders,
Tyler. I didn't know if you were going to say more about me.
Nope. No, just that you're so ruggedly handsome,
All right, thank you.
and you got a nice beard.
Well,
It adds to the ruggedly handsomeness. What Study Hall is for the unenrolled is we take a bunch of your guys' UFS topics, as well as some of our own, and we sit down and we discuss them for your amusement, entertainment, and knowledge. So with that said, I want to give a shout out to our sponsor. This week's sponsor is tcgplayer.com/TCG University. We have gotten a TCG player, and we are wanting to get cards to the good people. It is a fun way for you to get product in your hands, as well as support the show in a non-Patreon related way. So if you want to jump out to the TCG player and shop around, we'd absolutely love to. We'd love to help. Topic 3 is going to be from Martin McMahon?
McCannon? Nick.
Martin. Your name's not Nick Cannon. It's Martin McMahon, right?
McMahon. We're so sorry.
It says how to polish decks. This was James reached out to the community and was like, "Hey, what do you want to have us do topics on?" And we picked this one kind of out of a hat. If you want your topic demanded on our show, go to Patreon for the $7 level, and you can force one of your topics on the show. But you got lucky, Martin. Don't let it happen again, punk. Tyler, how do you polish a deck? How do you know when a deck's done? How do you finish the guy off?
I have to play test with it first, obviously. I think that's always got to be the first thing you got to do. You can't. I think theoretical UFS only gets you so far.
Really?
Yeah. It's like I'll use Siegfried as an example because that's what I've been playing with.
By all means.
I built my deck. I was like, man, these cards are all. I had 2 of his foundations.
Okay.
The one that built down after you block with it, or added one back to your hand after you block with it, and it moves down, so you can loop it forever. And the one that says, after they play an attack, I'm gonna build a foundation.
Okay.
After playing testing with it, I was like, I only need 2 of this build foundation one, and I only need, I guess, 3 maybe of this. I'm gonna loop one.
Yeah.
Like it's not entirely necessary, and then. That gave me more room to add little things that improve my deck a lot.
What are some of your rules when it comes to decks? Because I think having a good solid base. One of the big things that you can do, I believe, is have a rule set that you live by, and then make adjustments based on the gameplay that you've had. And then theoretical UFS, because not every playtest group is big enough to like make every meta deck.
I agree.
And so, like, what are some of the rules?
I think I've talked about it before, but it's 20 attacks. I always play 20 attack decks.
Always.
Always.
Why would you not? What would it take for you to not play 20 attacks? Sorry to interrupt.
If for whatever reason, probably playing a 7-hander, maybe.
Okay.
It's like I always want to see 3 attacks in my hand at the beginning of every turn.
Of every turn.
Yeah, or after turn 1. Or
3
turn
attacks
0.
every turn.
Yeah. It's like, I think
That's so crazy.
I've never found a lot of success in like only playing 2 attacks. Like I understand you have to hold attacks and all that. Like what I don't want to do is go a turn too late. That's what I hate doing. Like I want to be able to poke, and then if it looks good, well I'll continue, but then move on after that. I'm not very good at this game.
I think you're totally fine. I think you're underselling yourself. I think the issue that you have there, and not to just dissect how you play the game, and say that my way is better, because it's not. It's different. And please understand that we're just 2 knuckleheads. I want to have more foundations and attacks always, unless I've got all attacks. Like I don't want 3 attacks. I think that's actually a bad hand. I think 3 and 3 is awful. I'll always think 3 and 3 is awful, because after I play my attacks, I'm probably committed out a little bit, which means that I can't block anything afterwards.
Yeah.
Like if I commit to playing 3 attacks on turn 2, then that's just not good. I don't have this. I can't scale that up unless one of those attacks is something that can get value off of a poke, such as like a hyper bomb, which is coming back in rotation, or syndicate slice, or a takedown, or something that makes your opponent make some sort of a small choice of, do I take 4 damage, or do I let him have some sort of incremental advantage? What is more important to me right now? Him drawing a card or him getting a momentum? Me taking 4 damage and keeping my card in my hand or not? And I think that's more important than, well, it's turn 2, time to robotically play 3 attacks every turn.
I think that's kind of how I like to play, though. I like it to be, I've built my small base. I'm now just going to attack, build a little bit more, attack, build a little bit more, and eventually I will get through you.
Interesting.
I might just start only playing throw decks. Now that I'm saying this,
certainly sounds like a good throw plan. But we're gonna get back to the topic at hand, which is polishing a deck. I think one of the biggest things when it takes to polishing a deck is, what are you checking? How often are you checking? And what are the numbers that you're playing in order to make something happen? Anytime that I finish a deck, like I just finished up a Cassie Cage deck for my girlfriend under Good, and we were about to watch a movie, and I said, I need to lay this deck out 3 times, and I laid every card out in its numbers. I looked at it and I went, I enjoyed these ratios, and I can't get into that because it's a little too long. And then I scooped everything up, and then I laid it out in what are my difficulties, specifically on foundations. How many 3 diffs do I have? How many 2 diffs? How many 1 diffs? How many 0 diffs? And I laid all those out, and I counted all those piles, and I went, okay, I don't have quite enough. I have too many 2 diffs, so what can I cut in order to go in here? And we'll talk about cutting in just a bit. And then I scooped everything up, and then I looked at blocks, because I think blocking is so unbelievably important. It's one of those things that will separate good UFS players from great UFS players. I think there was plenty of good UFS players that just face tank everything and just hope to kill you on the backswing. But the difference between good and great is knowing how and when to block. And knowing how and when to block, which means blocking everything is bad. Not blocking everything is bad. There is a happy middle ground where you should be able to block everything, if strategically that's the right call, if that is the right call.
Right.
And I don't think that enough people do that. I don't think enough people hit that risk reward of, should I block this? It's always, nah, I never do, or I have to block everything.
Right.
And I can call myself a hypocrite, because I felt in my match versus Witzel that I had to block everything. I felt that way, and I very much didn't. He was throwing 4 damage attacks. I didn't need to block any of those. That was just -1 card in his hand, and gave him an extra momentum, or it didn't, or whatever. Like, there was so much that I could have played that match differently, because I was so locked in this mindset of, I have to block.
Right.
How do you cut cards?
First I add all the cards in that I want. So
on
I get it up
IRL or in UFS Ultra?
in UFS Ultra.
If you do not know what UFS Ultra is, go to ufsultra.com. Sign up for this very free website. Donate if you can. It's sponsored by Rochester CCG. Go out and make 1,000 decks. They've got a fantastic database of every single UFS card I've ever seen. It's so cool.
Yeah.
Support them.
So it's
Donate.
what always happens is I look through all the cards. First, I usually do the 20 attacks. I pick out what 20 attacks that I want. And then at that point, it's like, well, I'm just going to add all the foundations in that I think would work with this deck.
Okay.
And then once I get around 60, I go and I start looking at what I might not need, what can be 3 ofs, what can be whatever, what I haven't already made 2 or 3 ofs. And then I either cut it down to 60 if I think it needs to be 60, which I usually do. Or if it's more, there's usually a reason behind it. Like I want more, or I have 20 attacks in the deck, and that's not very good for checking. So I need more foundations, clearly. That's sort of what I've been doing recently.
So when I cut, it's not as like a scientific process, but it definitely goes through a bunch of different steps of, whenever I make a UFS Ultra deck, I probably end at like at most 80 cards.
Yeah, I don't do that.
Yeah, I can't go above like 80 cards because I already know like what's playable and what's not. And I actually throw things into my deck based on how many cards I think they should be in. And that includes like here's a 1 of, here's a 2 of, here's a 3 of, here's a 4 of. Like I do that already. And so when I look at Celestial Being, I judge Celestial Being is a 2/4 with a 3 mid block that is very good versus specific decks in the meta. I'm not playing any reversals. It should be a 1 of. If I was playing reversals, it should be a 2 of. Or if a stun decks are running rampant, I should play this as a 2 of mainboarded. And so there's that meta choice, but we'll get into that in just a smidge. But what I do is I take and I look at at any one time would I want to see 4 of this card. And that's what I play 4 ofs at. I have stopped playing 4 ofs of a lot of foundations. Do you remember back whenever Bebop first came out?
Yeah.
And somebody built 4 overly dramatics on turn 2?
Yeah.
It was an absolute beating. It was the worst. It was like, oh man, okay, so the next 4 things that I do are going to be negated. Sweet. That card's a 4 of. It now could be dropped down to a 3 of because building 4 of that, my opponents might not trigger all 4 of those.
Yeah.
Any card that you don't want your opponent, you lay him down and you know your opponent's going to go, oh shit, I have to deal with 4 of those. Oh man. That's what I want to play. Or a card that I want to see every game. A good example for this would be Admonition Fees in Akuma. That card's unique and a 4 of in every Akuma deck, or it should be, because I have to see this card every game.
Yeah.
It guarantees a win.
It's like a lot of the time when I have 4 ofs, it always comes down to, man, it'd be so cool if I had 4 of these out. Like I just go off if I had 4 of these out.
Yeah.
Which never happens ever.
Yeah.
Like I never have 4 static build-ups out.
You play static build up at a 4 of?
Yeah.
Really?
That's the sheet man card.
2/5 no block?
Yeah, absolutely, because it's 1/1 on everything. Or it's +4 of any stat on everything. I love that.
So I would not play that at more of a 2 of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't necessarily.
Honestly,
it's a great choice.
I wouldn't even play it at a 1 of. like there's better cards than that just because it is not spam. It's a 2/5 without a block. And so when things have to go, when things have to get cut, no block's the first thing to go. 2 diffs are the first thing to go because 2 diffs are so vanilla. Broken 1 diffs are supposed to be broken, and powerful 2 diffs are what you have to keep. If you have this like middle ground of this 2 diff only works sometimes, then it's not worth it. A time where I get to now contradict this is playing the I'm playing the Despise All Evil. I believe that is the card of Liu Kang's toolkit that says Enhance, Destroy, Checks cannot be modified.
Mm-hmm.
That is not a very good card.
Right.
It's not. It's just not a good card. But it's very good versus Akuma, and it's very good versus Vega, to the point where that card has won me more Akuma games, and it won me versus Phil Birch in top 8 at the Chicago PTC because that card existed.
Mm-hmm.
I won. On our first topic of the week, the evil symbol existed. It's topped 5 times. It's topped the most out of every symbol. So you have to play a counter to that symbol, and Despise All Evil is it. You can do that with a bunch of different toolkits. Whether your deck loses, or whether you want a tech versus a fire deck, you can play the Zoe card that after you block with it builds, and you get a Seal of Fire Foundation. Like those cards have to exist as 1 ofs in your deck. I feel like your deck has to. And we're just talking about foundations right now. We can get to attacks here in a smidge. Your deck has to be able to see a plethora of answers, or be so unbelievably streamlined that your win condition always happens.
That's how I want to play.
So play Mad Perot.
Yeah.
So everything you're saying.
That's how I want. That's how I want my decks to work.
So what you're saying to me is that you want to be an aggressive player.
Yes.
You want to be aggressive.
Yes.
So quit playing the arrow symbol.
Well, but that's Siegfried's best symbol.
I get it. Then don't play Siegfried.
Mm.
Siegfried is not an aggressive character. Siegfried is a control character. the way that you're saying you want to play, the way that you're telling me that you build decks, and the reason that you might be having such an issue with building, we're going to jump into it, and I'm going to be like the comedy. The reason that you're wanting to jump into it is the fact that you're enamored by these big, beefy, manly characters as opposed to these little, quick assassins. Mad Perot sounds like a great deck for Tyler Clark.
Maybe.
Jet sounds like a great character for Tyler Clark. Hey, I'm gonna throw 2 damage on everything. You're gonna get stunned out every turn, and you're gonna have to deal with my presence. I'm gonna give a little bit of speed. I'm gonna give a little bit of damage, and you're not gonna have any answers to anything. Mm-hmm. Is it my turn? I can't do very much, but my turn is more impactful than your turn, and that's how I'm gonna play the game.
Right.
Goro sounds like a perfect character for Tyler Clark. The fire symbol sounds like a perfect symbol for Tyler Clark.
Yeah, I'll agree to that.
But you want to play Earth.
Yeah.
You want to play this slow, grindy game.
Sure. It's not necessarily that it's what I want to do. Like, I want all my decks to be... I have the most fun playing these decks that are very simple and just kind of go in. Like, the
most fun I can remember you having at an event was at Worlds this past year, playing Spike 2 on teams.
Yeah.
You were just like, either I kill them or they kill me.
Yeah.
We'll roll some dice and we'll play the game.
Yeah.
And if my kill turn is better than your defenses, or my kill turn's better than your kill turn, then I'll win.
Yeah. That was very fun.
Yeah.
It's how I have the most fun playing the game.
Okay.
Part of Siegfried though is
we
that
should definitely talk about this after the podcast.
I want to get better at the game. I don't think just playing decks that play very simple, I'll win or I'll lose, makes you a better player. I would like to be able to play sort of a grindy game. Like, I'm right now, if I play against anybody that builds a bunch and is very defensive, I just like, this sucks. I don't want to play anymore. I would like to get to a point where I can be like, okay, now that we're in this point, I can actually survive.
So at that point, like, you just need to build your deck to be able to break down long-term walls as opposed to short-term walls. Like, Kin will beat you if you try to race him. Right. And the way that you beat Kin is you build up a wall. And currently, Kin decks the current Kin decks that I'm seeing cannot play into deadlock very well. Mm-hmm. If I have a bunch of foundations, that means I do get this to block everything because 2 speed and 6 damage is not very much because damage doesn't matter. But I lost. If you look out on our channel, I was playing my Fae water deck that was brilliantly built by Tyler Clark, which is an aggressive combo deck. Like, mm-hmm. It is. It draws I can kill people with 2 foundations, or I can kill people with 45. It just depends on the turn. Yep. I hope not 45. I play 60 cards. But you look at the Kin deck that Travis Tangeman built. He's on the podcast sometimes. Shout out to my dude. He was playing Coffee Samba Missile Launcher and a bunch of these wall breaker cards, and was just like, I'm going to play the late game because I know that I can outdraw you because my deck is massive. I'm going to play a more control build, and every turn I'm going to stun everything out, and every turn my stuff's going to get 1/3 on every attack.
Yeah.
And so, like, there's a way that it's an aggressive deck, and it certainly could kill you with 2 missile launchers and 2 Coffee Sambas that he opened up on turn 2. Like, it can do that. But at the same time, when he opens those missile launchers on turn 4, and you're at 12 foundations, he's going to hit you for a bunch and then continue to play. So, like, whenever he did his polishing, it was about what does Kin lack? What does Kin not accomplish? Mm-hmm. Which is playing the long game. Right. He made a long-gamed Kin, and it's a very cool deck, to the point where I think that he actually should have kept with that deck.
Yeah.
I think he would, if Travis would stop jumping around so much. Yeah, we're talking about you on the podcast. You don't listen to this, or maybe you do. Shoot us a comment down. I think if Travis like stayed with the deck and truly polished it, I think he'd start demolishing us.
I agree. He's a very good player.
He's all right. Don't let go of your head, buddy.
I think he makes a lot of new player mistakes, and I think that once he gets over that, he's going to be very good at this game.
Attacks as quickly as we can.
Sure.
So the thing about attacks is I don't actually like playing 4 of attacks. I'm sorry. I do like playing 4 of attacks, but it has to, if it's a 4 of, it has to be, man, I'm okay seeing 1 of this every turn.
Yeah.
I am okay. So when I played Scorpion, I'm okay seeing a singular Syndicate Slice every turn. Or on my kill turn, I'm super down to see 4 Syndicate Slice. That's fine. The 4 ofs need to have that duality of it can be played early, it can be played late. Which is why, in my Jetta deck, I think I didn't play a singular 4 of. I don't think I played a single 4 of attacks. I think 3 was the most.
Yeah.
Fact check me if you'd like to, but I don't remember writing a 4 on my attacks.
So what I always do with attacks is I just pick out the certain attacks that I want to play in this deck. Usually it might be an attack that I want to play, and that's what I'll build the deck around.
Mm-hmm.
So that obviously has to be a 4 of. But then I just pick the attacks that I think would work well with that. And if I ever have attacks at 3 ofs, it's because I have found more attacks that I want to play than will allow me to have 20 attacks if they were all at 4 ofs.
So you would rather just have 5 4 ofs in your deck?
So that's what usually ends up happening is I'll have 5 4 ofs, and then I'll be like, well, there's this 6 attack. Well, I'll turn one of these in. I'll now fiddle with the numbers a little bit to make it happen. Or this attack isn't really the best. Well, then I'll put it down to a 2 of.
When I think about attacks, I think about like a reverse Pokemon evolution order of like what attacks do I want to see all the time, what attacks do I not want to see all the time, what attack am I okay with like drawing the 1 of. Like right now in Jackie, I don't think I have any 1 ofs, but I certainly have a bunch of 2 ofs. I've got 2 Fatality, 2 Hand Cannon, 2 single barrel, or maybe 3 single barrel, but like I don't want to see 4 Hand Cannon on a turn. I don't want to see 4 Fatality on a turn. I don't.
Yeah.
In Fae, I'm so down to see 4 Fatality in a turn. That's 8 momentum.
Mm-hmm.
And that means that 4 Fatality and 4 Fatality Windmill Punch Explosion, you literally can't survive. It's impossible.
Yeah.
It's impossible for you to survive that turn. Or even like 4 Fatality Skull Barrier Foundation. Like it doesn't feel good, but play 3 Fatality, add all my momentum, build my 1 foundation. I've got 2 blocks, one of which is a Skull Barrier. That sounds great. One of which is a Skull Barrier, a Spregio. That sounds great. Like having those 4, that says that my next turn, you're dead.
Sure. I don't think I could ever play 1 of attacks.
1 ofs?
Yeah. And that's sort of my philosophy on 1 ofs just in general though, is that I think if it is a 1 of in your deck, then it probably doesn't need to be in your deck. I sort of changed this philosophy with like foundations. Like I think 1 of foundations are fine, but they have to be cards that like you don't have to see. They're like just cool things that happen sometimes.
So the reason I like 1 ofs of attacks, especially when it comes to like I think 1 ofs of attacks have to be on the scale, on like the big scale.
Mm-hmm.
I think like something like an Overhead Heel Crush would be a fun 1 of, or Dragon Flare would be a fun 1 of.
Sure.
So this is game changing enough that if I check it, he's going to be scared of it. But if I don't check it, he's not going to see it coming.
Yeah.
I did that with Skull Barrier and with Spregio in my Jetta deck, and I actually caught a bunch of people off guard of like they haven't seen a Skull Barrier yet, they haven't seen a Spregio yet.
Yeah.
There it is. That is a legitimate trap that you fell into. Of maybe they weren't paying attention, and if so, they're not doing a very good job at playing the game. But like I pay attention to every single attack that I've seen. Oh man, I'm playing against this deck, and you've milled a flame bow. That's not your only flame bow. It can't be, or bow flame. It was. I don't have to worry about that attack anymore.
Yeah,
It's like if somebody milled a Nutcracker. If somebody checked a Nutcracker on turn 1, I'm going to be holding a low block for the rest of the game.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm going to be holding a low block. If you check a Flame Aura, I know that my high attack is one of my high attacks is this turn is going to get auto blocked. But you are playing it as a 1 of in the main board, 1 of in the sideboard, because Jackie is very good, and you checked it. Well, now I'm sitting here holding cards, knowing that just waiting for the hammer to drop for you to play this card. That's why I think 1 ofs are good.
I guess.
But that's just a different mentality, like obviously. So I think you should play a bunch of 1 ofs. I think 1 ofs are incredible right now.
I think with it. So then I think a bunch of 1 ofs are fine, because then that's a bunch of little options that will add together to be something cool. I just think that attacks are like the big part of the deck. Like they're the
Win condition.
Yeah, they're the win condition.
Mhm.
I think that attacks are the most important part of the deck.
So you know that I'm playing Jackie right now.
Yes,
You know I'm playing the water build.
absolutely, I do.
You know the three main cards that I play are Air Ground Smash, Getaway Fire, and Tech Sphere.
Yep.
What numbers should those be at?
I'd say 4 of each. Maybe less of Tech Sphere because it's off-symboled. But, yeah, I still think 4 of.
So I'm actually only playing 4 of the main Jackie attack, and I'm playing 3 of the other 2.
Okay.
Because I don't want to check a 2, and the other one's off-symboled, but I still want to be able to play Air Ground Smash 10 times if I want to.
Yeah.
And so I don't need... having 2 Tech Spheres in my hand blows. The only way 2 Tech Spheres is good is if I have an Air Ground Smash removed and a Getaway Fire removed. That's it. The only time I ever want to see double Getaway Fire is if I have some other attack to play.
Mm-hmm.
Like it is a comboed piece that I have to see after a card. For the same reason that like I'm pretty sure in my Nationals deck I only played 3 From Hell. From Hell is how you kill people in Scorpion. Like that is like 17 damage on a singular card at the end of a string.
Yeah.
But I couldn't afford to have 4 of it in my deck because I couldn't afford to see it. But that's how you kill people, Tam. That's the main card, right? Well, no, because I only need 1 or 2 of them to kill you.
Right. I guess I'm always scared of if I need to see 1 of the 2 of them to kill you, I don't want to have those 2 in the discard pile.
Sure. Then cycle your deck.
No, God, no. That
Really?
That would require me playing into the long game, and I don't want to do that.
Are you kidding me? There are so many times where I have been like, because like the last I've played the water symbol the past 3 decks. I'm gonna be like the comedy. I've played the water symbol the last 3 decks, and there are plenty of times where I've milled my win condition and been like, well, I have to sit here for 5 turns and not die. All right, let's play the game.
Yeah,
And
I just don't want to do that.
I guess that then changes like how we want to play decks. That's how we differ, which is why this topic is so fun.
Yes.
Of how like you want your deck line to be very straight, and I want to try and open mine up as wide as I can and try and hit as many different options. But like it'll fade out, and you just want like a solid blast of this is what my deck fucking does. This is it. Which is why I still think you just play Map Pro.
Maybe. I mean, I also want to move on to the spread out because I think it'll make me a better player.
We'll talk about that in another one.
Right.
We have to move on. We've been on this topic for almost 30 minutes, and we still have to record another one.
Yeah. The only other thing I have to say is like your block modifiers. I always do more than 10 of everyone.
More than 10 of everything.
Yeah. The minimum number has to be 10. If I have, it has to be double digits. Otherwise, you have to mess with the numbers.
My minimum's 9, but
Yeah.
it's right there.
Yeah.
Yep. We're gonna move on to topic 4. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Study Hall here on UFSU University. My name's Tam, and I'm joined by
Tyler.
What Study Hall is for the unenrolled. We've taken a bunch of your guys' UFS topics as well as some of our own, and we sit down and we discuss them for your amusement, entertainment, and knowledge. Before we jump into topic 4, which is brought to us by one of you, the good people, I want to talk about our sponsor today, which is TCG Player / TCG University. We have gotten a TCG player, and we are now selling cards in order to help support the channel. So if you want to support the channel and support us, try and make this a little more permanent, more like a real job for us, that would be very cool. It's a way that you can help the channel without subscribing on Patreon or anything. So with that, I want to jump into topic 4, which is, have ratios changed? Chris Smith asked on Facebook. James did a quick blurb of the community questions, and he said, does Soul Calibur 6 and its assets does Soul Calibur 6 assist the 20+ attack trend or exacerbate it? Chris Smith. Are you still going to play 20 attacks when Soul Calibur 6 comes out?
Absolutely, I am.
So I actually have been playing less. I think I played 19, except for in Fae, which needed 4 of 5 different attacks in order to play the game. But I think in Jet I played like 17 attacks, or Jetta. Sorry, I keep saying Jet. In Jetta I played 17 attacks, and in what am I playing right now? Jackie, I'm playing 19. He's a 19 or 20. And I think it really depends on what it is that your deck wants to do. I think it depends on how aggressive you plan on being.
Sure. I think we talked about it a while ago. I remember talking about it with Jake and you, I think. Barrett might have also been there. and they were all talking about like, no, you don't play 20 attacks.
I
You're
agree.
just going to check. Like, and I think that sort of the trend I've seen around here is that you curve those numbers down a little bit.
When would you curve them up?
So like a hyper aggressive decks.
Yeah, I agree. I think like the Kin 2s can get away with like a 24 attack deck. It really just depends on if you don't mind checking bad.
Yeah. Or if you have some way of not checking bad. Like this Yoshimitsu deck,
Mm-hmm.
I would be slightly tempted to do it
Mm-hmm.
because I play a lot of assets,
Mm-hmm.
and therefore I get this Bishamon Foundation that counts as 2 foundations.
Yeah.
I also play under all, so I can have that Turbo Man card that counts as 2 foundations for attacks.
Yeah.
And I want to see a million attacks and just go off.
Yep.
I also get once a turn plus 2 my checks. If I check an attack, well, that's fine.
You checked a foundation.
I checked a foundation.
Or if you checked a foundation, you checked a super foundation.
Right. So like that's sort of a type of deck where if I played more than 20 attacks, I think I could be okay.
I think the thing is like, is it okay to survive an extra turn? I think that is the question that is being asked here is, are the decks going to be so hyper aggressive that you're allowed to just whiff on a kill turn? Like, is that okay? And versus decks like Akuma, that's a hard thing to say. Versus a deck like Goro, that's a very hard thing to say of like, can I survive a kill turn? Which is where like me playing less attacks is an issue. I think when you're fighting decks like that, depending on like the meta, when we look at the breakdown, we had a bunch of evil decks which say if you check bad, you lose.
Right.
5 evil decks topped in the past 3 events, and they say if you check bad, you lose. If you check a 3, you checked a 1. Well, that means you discarded a card, and the cost for them to do that is minuscule. It's nothing.
It's nothing. Yeah.
And so the less 3s that you run, the less that their abilities work, the more blank their card is.
Right.
And so if you play more attacks, if you play more aggressive, then you're just falling into their evil trap.
Right.
Their evil plan.
Right.
And so like the fire decks, like Goro has a really hard time versus an evil deck unless he can just get a solid build turn. Like I build 4 and I'll pass.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the cards that I dipped was a missile launcher. Well, I'm for sure going to play the missile launcher, and I don't care what you hack it. It's still flying at you. Same thing with like Witzel. It's like, I drew a missile launcher. I have to play this attack. Like it's a thing I have to do. And so like I think that the ratios are probably going to go down.
Yeah.
I don't think that they're going to go up.
I don't either.
And I think that it is just going to be a slightly more defensive game, which I'm totally fine with. I'm totally fine with and I'm going to use these 3 all fire, evil, hyper aggressive, I cut myself to desperation, I'll kill you type decks.
Mm-hmm.
Things like Akuma, Kodokan, Vega, under the evil symbol, just trying to kill you. I'm super down for that. I'm also down for these order or chaos or good decks being like, well, hold on, let's slow our roll and let's chill out. I want to play into deadlock. My name's Elena, and I'm trying to kill you when I've got 45 foundations.
Right.
I think Soul Calibur, from my very overlooking view, is I don't think that the hyper aggressive decks got very much.
I don't either. I think they got a lot more defensive pieces.
I think there are a bunch more defensive pieces. You look at like Maxi's Foundation. That card is incredible. That card is super good, and it's both good aggressively and defensively. But Daniel Tyler taught me a long time ago that living is more important than killing them, and I disagree with that sentiment in a black and white sense.
Sure.
But it is very much grayscaled, and it's starting to feel a little more split grayscale. I should not be trying to kill you on turn 2 if that's not what my deck does. Sometimes you draw that and you just got to play with the hand you're dealt. But if you're trying to kill somebody on turn 2, quit building.
Yeah.
I think it is 100% based on what symbol are you playing, what tools do you have. I don't think Soul Calibur gave anybody these hyper aggressive tools, and I don't think Soul Calibur gave anybody these unstoppable wall defenses. I think maybe the only hyper aggressive tool that I could possibly see would be like something like Killick Dirty Bow type combos where I'm just like picking up an attack and ignoring progressive and like playing more cards. Like I think Jeremy Ray's gonna kill people on 2 with that. I think Chris Nixon's gonna kill people on 2 with that deck.
Yeah, I think that That's sort of like an extreme example, right? Like that is the definition of hyper aggressive.
But at the same time, we look at the opposite of that, and we look at Raiden, and he plays with those same 6 foundations, and that is a more defensive deck, or it can be because of how it works. Like I think Killick is totally it can totally be a defensive deck. Hold on,
Sure.
I'm gonna look up Killick just real fast and make sure that I'm not misremembering what he does. I'm fairly positive that he says your next check. He doesn't say your next difficulty. Oh, what did I click?
You have
I clicked 4 difficulty characters and I found Gemini Man. Rad. Okay, so he says difficulty, and so you don't even get to block with him. Man, I lied. Killick's just gonna kill people.
it's I have to
Killick's just gonna kill people.
if I have 3 foundations, then you're dead, which means I built turn 1, and now I'm just gonna kill you.
Or he's got cards that will destroy his foundations for effects, like, I don't know, Vicinity Blast.
Or I know a bunch of his cards destroy.
Yeah.
Like, I've now built 6, but like it's actually 3 after I fiddle with the numbers.
Yeah. But looking through, I think Siegfried's a really defensive character. I think Taki can be a really aggressive character. Sophidia's a defensive character.
I think Sophie is like the opposite of Killick, and she's hyper defensive.
Yeah?
Yeah. I think her entire thing is I'm going to have less damage than normal, but also if anything gets blocked, then you're committing foundation. So I'm just going to block everything.
Well, the thing is like, Sophidia says this attack is +2 or -2 speed, and if it deals less than its printed damage, commit to your opponent's foundations. So she just wants to half block a bunch of stuff.
She wants to half block a bunch of stuff, or like all of her things say my attack is -1 damage.
I think James Stevens should play the shit out of Sophidia.
Yeah,
I think that's the deck
I think
that
you should play Ivy more, because I think Ivy might actually be the man. I think it's Ivy might actually, now that
both have the life symbol, and I think it's gonna come back. But we're not talking about that.
Yeah.
Final thoughts is I think that Soul Calibur is gonna make attacks less, because I think foundations are actually gonna be doing more.
I agree. I think they've given us a lot of cool foundations to play around with.
Yeah. Like, I can't think of like. And once again, I've done very little Soul Calibur research. After the Atlanta PTC, I can probably reevaluate this topic just a smidge. But like, Guilty Throne is like the main attack that I'm thinking of when I think of Soul Calibur, and how nutty that card is. It just says draw 3.
Yeah.
And I can pick the two of the 3 cards I draw. And I think that card's gonna make Venomous be played again, or for the first time.
Right, because I don't know why people weren't playing a whole bunch.
That's okay.
I wasn't either, so
You weren't. But with that, is there anything else you can think about for this topic?
No. I think that we're gonna see playing less than 20 attacks is it could be a more viable option now. I think that's sort of the direction people are going. And I think it's going to continue that way, maybe, unless they decide, well, we want attacks to do a lot more again. And then we're just going to, the next set is just going to be really hyper aggressive again.
I agree. So with that, thank you very much for watching this episode. If you like the content, go to patreon.com/TCG or UFS University. We changed the URL, UFS University, and subscribe to one of the tier levels. We also have the TCG player. So thank you so much for your support, and stay learned.
Get learned.
See you guys.